Buffalo, New York, Jimmy Schroeder. From St. Louis, Missouri, the Smiling Irishman, Pat Patterson. From the beautiful Emerson Lanes here in the industrial city of Parkersburg-West-Virginia in the heart of the Ohio Valley, it's Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show. The world's greatest bowlers in action every week, over $75,000 in prizes. This is Fred Wolf. We have two more of our field of 24 of these great stars in a three-game match. $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. They're both making their second appearance. 6-game total to qualify for the finals. That's the important thing. All competition sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress. 300 games worth $10,000. A $250 bonus for 5 strikes in a row in any one game, and $50 more for every strike on top of the 5. We're ready to go. It'll be Pat Patterson from St. Louis, Jimmy Schroeder from Buffalo. The first game in just a moment. Ready for the first game of 3, Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, the world's great bowlers in action at the Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg-West-Virginia. Here's Jim Schroeder from Buffalo, New York. Patterson won the toss. He elected to start on the right. Schroeder doesn't get there. The 1-2-4-7, the washout 1-2-4-10 correction. And the AMF Sparemaker indicates that the ball should be thrown between the 1 and 2 pin. The Vindicator shows the 1-2-4-10. Here's a tough shot to start a match. Jim Schroeder, who won his first match in his first appearance defeating Lee Juglar from Los Angeles. Got to hurry. He doesn't get there, and, well, he almost turned it in off the cushion. So Schroeder is open in the first as Pat Patterson, moves in on the right side. Here's a fella that in the Northville series on Championship Bowling started 2 games with 10 in a row in 2 different appearances. Had a 287 and a 289. On the nose, and he got away with it. Sitting in with us this week, young Bill Hardwick, who incidentally is our alternate. Bill has not seen any action up to this time, Bill, so you're going to get a good look at them this week. Pat Patterson, the big fella, Jim Schroeder. Watching his opponent, Patterson, trying to get away with a fast double. Gives it room, and he carries and has the first 2. Very interesting here, too. In Patterson's first appearance, he didn't get a strike on the right side, lane 38, until the 8th frame of the second game. And he started off this week by caving one in on the right side. This ought to give Pat a little encouragement. Jimmy Schroeder now from Buffalo. The big turn. He gets there and leaves the 7th pin. Schroeder averaging 213 for 9 games on Championship Bowling. Patterson averaging 217 for 21 games. Schroeder up short, just outside the 12-foot line. Takes 5 short steps, the big turn, and he covers the spread. Schroeder now moving to the left side. Well, Bill, how are you picking these 2 boys here? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I have to go along with Pat this week because experience will tell in the long run, I believe.
Well, Pat has a lot of experience, no doubt about that, but Jimmy's a young fella coming up.
Oh, Jimmy's one of the best in the country, no doubt about it.
A little younger than Patterson. He's the real swinging type. Out it goes, and back it comes. Well, he didn't make the same mistake twice. He threw that first one well out, didn't seem to get out of the ball the way he wanted to, and it didn't get back, and he had the washout. But he's back with a strike in the third, and here's Patterson. This is really Pat's tough side. I don't know what he might be thinking about. He was on the nose with the first one. This time, he doesn't get there. The 2-pin. And if I recall in his first appearance, Bill, he left that 2-pin a half a dozen times on the identical hit, just not getting enough of the pocket.
He just doesn't seem to be coming through with the ball, Fred. I think he's just setting it too short.
Do you think that it kind of works on your mind when you're convinced that a lane has the best of you? You just can't throw your best ball.
I believe that.
I know you've been working out here occasionally as you stand by to possibly get into action. How do you find the lanes?
Well, actually, I think the lanes are real nice, but on TV, you're always under that pressure, and that makes a difference in how you throw the ball.
Which one is your favorite?
37.
37. Patterson on the nose, the 4-6. So Pat, who started with 2, had a solid pocket strike in the second on what side he feels is the easiest for him. Pulled one a bit, didn't stay down with it. The 4-6, he is open. Each man has had an open frame. So Schroeder now move in on the right side on a strike with a chance to take the lead. Jimmy Schroeder, born in Buffalo, New York in 1928, went to St. Louis in 58, to Detroit in 59, and back home to Buffalo in 1962. He has 4 brothers, all in the bakery business in Buffalo. There we are. Schroeder with 2, and Jimmy will move left. On the winter tour in 1963, Schroeder was a finalist in the Louisville Open. On the BBA tour in 1962, he was in the finals 6 times. His best finish was a 3rd in the St. Louis Open. On 2. Big turn. He's got it. Boy, what action. Schroeder with 3 as Jimmy goes after bonus money. 5 strikes in a row in any one game. $250 bonus. Any strikes on top of the 5 worth $50 additional. Pat Patterson back on the right. 3rd diamond. Sets it. Well, there's nothing difficult about that, Pat. At the end of 5 in the first game, Schroeder is 29 as he works on 3. Patterson is 76 in the 4th with a single strike in the 5th. We're in the 6th. First game. Patterson doesn't make a mistake that time. A lot on that ball. The 7-pin with the wiggle and wobble. 2 pins on the pin deck right in front of it. And the 7-pin is still up there. How would you describe that result, Bill?
Well, I think he had a good roll on the ball. It just doesn't seem to be coming through with the ball the way he normally does.
There's the cover. So Patterson, who drew the 4-6 there in the 4th frame, gave that one all the room it needed, but he just didn't get all the action he wanted over in the left corner as Schroeder moves in on the right side. He's on 3 in a row. Jimmy picked up $350 in bonus money. He had a 7-bagger in his last game in his first appearance for $241. Jimmy got a slow start. Big turn. It'll never get there. 1. Oh, look at here. 1, 2, 7, 8, 10. Let's take a look at the magic triangle pin indicator. There they are. 1, 2, 7, 8, 10. The spare maker indicates the ball between the 1 and the 2. 1 pin should take out the 10 if he gets it in the right place. Bill, is that right?
That's right, Fred. It seems like he had a hesitation in
may
his
have
arm
it.
swing on that first.
Great shot! Look at that. Well, there was a great shot. Actually, the ball hitting the 1 pin, the 2 pin, the ball got a piece of the 8 pin and went on through and took out the 7, and the head pin hit the 10. Oh, there was a picture shot. He had half of them up there. We go into the 7th. A great shot by Jimmy Schroeder on top of a 3-bagger. His second washout of the game. Here she comes. Doesn't get there, the 2-pin. Jimmy was the Buffalo, New York match game champion back in 1956. One of his early tutors, the great Ollie Brandt, who some years ago established a 3-game high in American Bowling Congress competition that many people say will never be topped. 886 for 3 games. 2-pin, Jimmy covered. So Mr. Patterson will move in on the right side. Billy, it's interesting to me, a bowler of the caliber that Patterson is, to admit that this lane just has him completely buffaloed.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you said before, Fred, you find a lane that scares you and you can't throw the ball right.
There's the 2-4-5. Claude Patterson. They call him the Smiling Irishman. He's done a lot of great things on television. Shot a .299 game in Cleveland. In front of the TV cameras, left a 5-pin. Has rolled 3 700 total. There's the cover. On championship bowling in the Northbrook, Illinois series, Pat had a .287 game, giving him 747. In a later match, a .289 game with 730. Each of those games, he started with the first 10. 3-finger ball, wide span, little finger on top of the ball. 10-pin, that 6-pin going right around it. It's quite noticeable up here, possibly you've noticed it already, Bill, that on the left side, lane 37, Pat throws the ball normally, has the nice lift, and he swings with it. He gets over here on the right side, the side that bothers him so much, and he just doesn't throw the ball the same way. Jimmy Schroeder out in front, about 10 pins. There's another washout, 1-2-10. That's a third one for Schroeder. His second one here on the right side. Well, he picked up a little tougher shot than this in the 7th. Let's see what he can do with it this time. Actually, it's the same shot. The 1-2-10 are the key pins. 1-10. Maybe. Right around it. A bad break for Schroeder. Looked like he covered that perfectly. Jimmy Schroeder, who won his first match from Lee Juglard, finishing with a beautiful 241 game against Pat Patterson, who beat young Dick Downey from Newark, New Jersey, by just 2 pins, 589 to 587. At the end of 8, Patterson out in front by 3 pins. 10-pin, the 6-pin again, going right around it. Jimmy is the real swinging type of bowler, isn't he, Billy? He has to go around. He has the big lift.
He really strokes it nice.
Of course, when he gives it too much room, the way that ball cuts through there, when he misses the head pin, we're going to see the washout. We've seen it 3 times there in the first game.
That's right.
The 10-pin covered by Jimmy Schroeder as Pat Patterson now moving in the 9th. One open frame, the 4-6. Deep inside, third diamond, he was to the left of it. He's on the nose again, the 6-10. On the 1963 PBA Tour, Patterson was runner-up in the Dallas Open. He was a finalist in the National All-Star Tournament in 1963, finished 7th. Finalist in the World's Invitational, finished 13th. So 1963 was a big year for Pat, and of course he was also captain of the National Match Game Team Champions, an event that the Bowling Proprietors Association of America conduct each year. Captain of the American Bowling Congress Classic Team Champions in 1962 in Des Moines, Iowa. And he won a PBA event in 16. 4-pin this time. Pat Patterson, St. Louis, Missouri. He's one of the boys, Bill, that puts his little finger, folds his little finger up in the palm of his hand and puts the back of his little finger against the ball. Do you think this has anything to do with the delivery, really?
Well, I think it helps. I notice a lot of youngsters, when they start bowling, they cup it because they aren't strong enough to carry the ball with just the weight of their hand, and that could possibly be how Pat started it.
You don't think it has anything to do with cutting down the turn of the ball with the little finger? In other words, is not reached out. Wouldn't that make you turn the ball? Well, Patterson, with the full count, 1-8-9. Schroeder going into the 10th on a spare, 149 spare. Jimmy with a double here can win the first game. That could be the first one. There, he got the 10-pin out of there. Another close one going here on Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show. Ten-pin, and we could have a dead heat here in the first game. Patterson with 189. Jimmy needs this one for 189. We've had tie games occasionally, but in the history of championship bowling, there has been only one tie match. Joe Willman, former national singles champion, Junie McMahon, a former champion, tied with 605. There's the cover, the first game. 189 apiece, Jimmy Schroeder and Pat Patterson. We'll be back for the second game of 3 on Championship Bowling from Parkersburg-West-Virginia. Fred Wolf, along with Bill Hardwick. We'll see you right after this word. Here are the scores at the end of the first game. Jimmy Schroeder, 189. Pat Patterson, 189. Both boys with 4 strikes. Looks like we're going to go tie here all the way. How about it, Parkersburg? A little encouragement here. Okay. Pat Patterson, St. Louis. Starting off the second game, both boys with 189. Big Pat throws it, sets it, he's in, leaves the solid 7. Pat didn't like that one. Billy Hardwick from San Mateo, California, sitting in with us this week. Bill is our alternate, hasn't seen any action up to now, but any week we just may see him in there. What happened to that hit, Billy?
That I don't know, Fred.
Call that a tap?
I would call that one of the real taps.
The 7-pin and the cover. So Jimmy Schroeder, the Buffalo Star, moving in on the right side. Jimmy will always remember December 18th, 1958, in St. Louis, when he rolled his first sanctioned perfect score. Just about like that. So Schroeder off with a strike. Jimmy started the first game with a washout, the 1-2-4-10, which he missed. Later in the game, he had the 1-2-7-8-10, another washout, which he converted. He had the 1-2-10 in the 8th, which he missed. So he's had 3 of them. A little careful, not wanting to be high. Jimmy, of course, who swings with that ball, throwing it out a little too far. There's a good curve. No doubt about that one. So Schroeder off with a fast double to take the lead. A 10-pin advantage as Pat Patterson moves in on the right side. And we're going to keep watching Pat, as we pointed out earlier, in case you missed it. Pat just feels that this lane has the best of him, and there's not much he can do about it. Another 2-pin. We've looked at probably 8 or 10 of those 2-pin leaves on this lane in Pat's 2 appearances. He says he only has 2 places to go. He's either short or he's on the nose. Can't seem to find the pocket, although he did throw a beautiful strike in the first game here in the 5th frame. The cover, 19, and the spare for Patterson as he moves to the left. In 1962, Pat was captain of the American Bowling Congress champions when they set an all-time record for 6 games in the ABC tournament, 61-48. Too tight, 4-7-10. Pat didn't seem to lift that one at all, did he, Bill?
He doesn't seem to be getting it out in the alley, Fred. He's just setting it too short and not doing anything with it.
So Patterson here with a pretty tough thing to look at, the 4-7-10. That's a long slide for that 4-pin. Maybe too much of the 4. Patterson is open in the 3rd as Schroeder moves in, working on 2. 5 in a row, an additional $250. Deep inside. 3rd arrow, much too high, and he didn't get across, leaves the 6-pin. Almost a stealer there, just a little bit, and Jimmy would have been across far enough to kick that 6 out of there. You don't see these boys cross too often, do you, Bill?
No, that's real rare for these guys. They bowl every day, and they're pretty sharp about hitting that pocket.
At the 6 and the spare. Jimmy Schroeder, Buffalo, New York. Won the New York State singles some years ago, 1955. Likes to play golf occasionally. We're in the 4th. Schroeder out in front. 24 pins. There's some action. The explosive ball of Jimmy Schroeder, Buffalo, New York. Or as Bill Bonetta calls it, a very devastating ball. He throws a devastator. Patterson on the right. Never. Well, Pat knew he threw that one in the wrong place the minute he let loose of it, leaving the 6-pin. It's interesting to me, Bill, how a fella with the caliber, a bowler that Patterson is, he won't change his line. He just feels that the line is all right. He just doesn't throw the ball the way he wants to, and he does it over and over. What would you do in a situation like this?
Well, I agree with you. He has the right line. It's just the way he's throwing the ball. But if he finds it, watch out, because he can string him a mile long.
Patterson moves left, looking for his first strike here in the 2nd game. He had 4 strikes the 1st game. He started with a double in the 5th. There it is. No 7-pin that time. So Jimmy Schroeder now back on a strike will try to start over. He started with 2, then was too high. Too high here on the right side in the 3rd. He's back in the 5th. He's on a strike. $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. Both these boys making their 2nd appearance on championship bowling. There it is. So at the end of 5, the match is halfway. Schroeder is 69. He's on a double. Patterson is 65 on a single strike. Going for 3. There it is. Well, Jimmy really pulled the string on that one. A lot of action, a lot of speed, and a very tight line over on the left side. Jimmy seems to work much harder on the right, as certainly Patterson is. Let's see what Pat can do. He's on a strike. Over the 3rd diamond. Sets the chin, and he dives, and come on, Pat. Well, Patterson proved something. He can do it, Billy.
He just did it.
Yes, sir. He did it.
Same line, but he threw the ball right.
Well, that's about right. As we sit here, he's hitting that 3rd diamond right on the nose, but you still have to throw the ball the way you want to throw it. Hitting the diamond isn't the only thing you have to do. In the 7th, on 2, Big Pat throws. He does not get there, the 2-4-5. And the AMF spare maker will indicate, this being one of the 1,023 possible spare leaves, shows you the easiest way to make that spare put the ball between the 2 and the 5. Just don't take too much of the 2-pin. There it is. Patterson covers in the 7th. So for Patterson, it's 112. He has the spare. Jimmy working on 3 strikes. Big strike, number 4. 4 in a row for Schroeder. Now he moves left. Oh, the Angels were helping him that time. He almost crossed earlier in the first game, Bill. He got that one really across there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that's the break he needed for the bonus.
Well, let's see what happens. Jimmy Schroeder now with 4 in a row. This strike worth $250 additional to the Buffalo Star. The winner of his first match over Lee Juglard. He has a very good margin over Pat Patterson here to make it 2 straight. This for number 5. Way out and way back. And there we are. Well, what's the phrase they use, Bill? They say he buried that one right up to his shoulder.
He's really throwing nice now. He's stroking it beautiful. He's got a good turn.
Here's Patterson on the right. The smiling Irishman will be too high again. Wide open, 4-7-10, a groan from the folks here in Parkersburg-West-Virginia. Championship bowling, as you have watched it from various cities around the country over these many years: Paramus, New Jersey, Chicago, Louisville, Kentucky, Coral Gables, Florida, Northbrook, Illinois. Nice try. Patterson is open. You also watch championship bowling from Chicago Heights, Illinois, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Skokie, Illinois, and this year at the Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg-West-Virginia. Our hosts, proprietors Mark Nichols and Jim Chacona. Patterson in the 9th. Right back. So Pat works on a strike. Jimmy Schroeder from Buffalo moving in on the right now. Every strike worth $50. He has 5 in a row. A chance for 279. That would tie the high single set up by Andy Marsich from Los Angeles, California in his first match. Andy carrying a 740 series into his second appearance. Big lift. He gets there. Look at that action. Oh, that is sheer power, Bill. That's a great ball, isn't it?
Beautiful turn. Beautiful.
He's up to $300 now. We'll try for $350. Out and back and in, and that's another one. Well, this can figure out to better than $100 a minute if he can throw one every 30 seconds. But we're going to run out of frames, Bill. This will stop, of course, after the game is over. Mr. Schroeder now at 260. This one will give him 270. Out and back and hurry! Hurry! He didn't get there. Not enough of that pocket. He stops. Schroeder with a great finish here for 268. He started with 189. So that'll give Jim about 450. 457 going in. Quite a margin over Pat Patterson. The cover, he has the one. Well, he seemed quite determined not to put that next one too high, Bill. He gave that one all the room in the world, didn't he?
He sure did.
Well, let's watch Patrick now on his tough side. Out cement for that. Well done. So Pat, now realizing that his opponent is long gone, should begin to relax a bit here on the right side and show us that he can hit this lane. We know he can. But Pat doesn't know he can.
I think he had better speed on that last ball, Fred.
Four-pin, man, he got quite a rock out of that one. And the AMF automatic pin spotter will come down, pick up the 4-pin, clear the dead wood, put the 4-pin back off spot, and put the wiggle and wobble right back on that AMF tournament grade pin that Mr. Patterson will knock down for 186. Jimmy Schroeder with a beautiful 268. The third game to follow, $1,000 to the winner. This is Fred Wolf, along with Bill Hardwick here at the Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg, West Virginia, on Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show. We'll be back with the third and final in just a little minute. At the end of the first two games, Pat Patterson, 189 and 186. His total, 375. For Jimmy Schroeder, 189. His second game, 9 strikes, 7 in a row for $350 in bonus money, a 268. How about that, Parkersburg? And we'll be ready for the third and final. Jimmy Schroeder from Buffalo, New York, will start the third and final game, a total of 457. His second game, 268, with a 7-timer, good for $350 in bonus money. He has a lead of some 80 pins for the $1,000 for the 3-game total. He's right back in the pocket, and he's off with another strike. And Mr. Schroeder could be pretty tough here in this last game. Jimmy won his first appearance against Lee Juglard. He got $350 bonus money with a 7-bagger. He started with the first 7 in his last game. Patterson throws it out. Here it comes, and Patrick has himself a strike. And that's the best ball we've seen Patterson throw here on the right side in some time. The smiling Irishman from St. Louis, born in St. Louis in 1925. Father of 4 wonderful children. Pat's dad averaged 190 back in 1938 when Pat started, when he was only 12 years old. Well, he threw that one out the window, the 2-4-5-7. And the AMF automatic pin spotter will put those 4 back for Pat to take a look at. We look at the spare maker, which indicates the same as the 2-4-5. Put the ball between the 2 and the 5 and hope that you carry the 7. The other side. Oh, he got that one. Bill, I'm going to ask you a question. Looked quite obvious to me that Patterson did not follow the AMF spare maker that time. I think he shot that going away, didn't he?
I believe so. I was going to say that myself, Fred. It looked like he aimed there on purpose to make sure he got that 7 out.
Jimmy Schroeder, Buffalo, New York. He's on a strike. Slow start, big finish. There's another one. So if the pattern follows Jimmy's first appearance, he started his third game against Lee Juglard with the first 7 strikes and left a 10-pin in the 8th frame. Jimmy had 3 washouts in the first game, held him to 189. He made 1, and he missed 2 of them. Second game, a 6-pin in the 3rd frame on a high hit, and that was about all. Going for another one. There he is. So Jimmy flirting with that 700 total right now, 457. He only needs 243. 607 in his first match. Patterson sets it. He's there, and Mr. Patterson now on the right side looks like he owns it. Pat was runner-up in the first big professional bowlers tournament from Paramus, New Jersey, which was televised nationally. He was beaten by Roy Lown, the left-hander, in the finals. There's a solid 10, and Pat has just about given up here. And he had the privilege of being behind the microphone on that one, a real great finish. But the left-hander had a little too much for Patterson, and Pat was the runner-up. The 61 Paramus Open. One of Frank Esposito's favorite events. There's the cover. And Pat was unable to get the double. The eyes are now upon Jimmy Schroeder, former Buffalo match game champion. Man that really has power in that Am-Flight Magic Line bowling ball of his. On 3. The turn. He's going to be on the Brooklyn side again. Safe at home. Well, if you remember, Bill, you were the one who said he needed a break. Now, when he started that long string in the second game, he had 3, and he was on the right side, and he crossed and carried for number 4. That seemed to be the starting gun for Jimmy because he went right on and picked up 7 in a row. Do you think we can see this again?
I think it might happen again, Fred.
Well, let's not stop at 7 if it's going to happen. Jimmy would like this one. We're knocking on bonus money right now. Big turn. Here it comes. Oh, solid 10. Oh, he got even in a hurry. A $250  10-pin. Possibly more than that. $10,000 for a 300 score. Oh, he really buried that one. Would you call that a tap, Bill?
I would call that a wonderful tap.
You would. Well, some of the boys will tell you he just didn't throw it right. The ball reached the pocket too late or too soon or too fast. There's a reason for it. There's the cover. But I know if I threw one in the pocket like that and there was a 10-pin, I would say I was robbed. It would have to be a tap. Patterson in the 5th. Sets it nicely. Doesn't get there. No action at the end. He leaves a 2-pin again. Well, we've pointed out this 2-pin leave of Pat's. He probably has thrown 10 or 12 balls identical to that on the same side, the right side, here, lane 38 at the Emerson Lanes, with the same result, the 2-pin. The ball just doesn't quite finish for Patterson at the end. So at the end of 5, Schroeder 109 with a spare, Patterson 79 with a spare. There's some action for Pat Patterson. Back with a strike, and Jimmy Schroeder will have to start all over again. Well, there it is, right on the nose, the 4-6. At least he didn't overcorrect going to the Brooklyn and getting away with one. This time, Jimmy lined one right through the center, and that's going to hurt his chances for a 700 series. He needed 243, and he started with 4. Takes the 1 and moves left. He's right back. Right back. Mr. Schroeder really has a line on the left side. Patterson with a double in the 7th. We're trying to figure out how many balls in a row that Schroeder has thrown in the pocket on the left side. He hasn't missed that too often. Of course, he started with a washout over there in the first frame of the first game. Then he struck in the 3rd, in the 5th. He was a little short in the 7th. He left a solid 10 in the 9th. In the second game, he had all strikes on the left side with the exception of an 8-pin on his string of 7 in a row. Patterson with another one. And Patrick, with 2 frames to go, has a chance, of course, for the 5-bagger and the $250 bonus. Brooklyn side, Schroeder too far again, leaves the 6-10. Well, some of you ladies who watch championship bowling week in and week out, I'm sure many of you probably have been thinking about trying this great sport. Can't understand what you're waiting for. It's a lot of fun. Bowl in the mornings, afternoons. Just check your neighborhood bowling proprietor. You don't need a lot of equipment. He has the bowling balls and the shoes and the instructions. I'm sure you'll get interested and want to make it a weekly occasion. Something to talk to Dad about when he comes home. Like I always say, if there's a man in the family that bowls, Mother, there's no reason why you shouldn't participate also. Schroeder in the 9th. Throws one up there. In again on the left side, this time the 10-pin. So Jimmy's opportunity for the 700 total, of course, now gone. He still has a potential 225, a 680 total, a great comeback after opening in his first match with 607. There's the cover. So Jimmy's average for 12 games on championship bowling will go up to around 215. While Patterson's 217 average for 21 games is going to suffer a bit. Pat's up there, this time not enough of the pocket. Much the same story on the right side, the 245. This time he couldn't kick the 4-5 out. What do you think Pat did that time, Bill? Maybe we can find out what's his problem has been on the right side over these two appearances.
Well, I think he threw that ball the way he wanted to. I just don't think he threw it where he wanted to.
There's the cover, and Patterson moves to the left. Pat leading in this, the third game, by 1 pin. Of course, he was giving Schroeder some 82 pins going in. So Jimmy Schroeder from Buffalo, New York, will win both of his matches. $700 in bonus money. A total of $2,700. There's the first one in the 10th for Pat Patterson. Chance for 226. So Pat needs this one for 600. He needs this one and 9 pins for 600. He dropped it nicely. Oh, didn't carry the 7. 216. So Pat will miss his 600. He had 589 his first out. And he's going to have 591 with this cover. And that's it. For 216, Jimmy Schroeder now still with a chance for 225 and 682. This would give Schroeder 1289 for his 6 games. Nice performance. Oh, Jimmy would have liked to have that one a couple of frames ago. Interesting to watch the boys play this deep angle on the right side, using the third diamond as their spot. Of course, some of the boys hit it at different angles. But that ball can set itself and practically roll straight into the pocket. On the high hit, some of the boys will belly it and bring it back. Too much of the time, he was way left of it, and he leaves the 10 pin and will settle for 215. So that'll give Schroeder 672. Well, Bill, do you think you've learned anything about bowling, sitting up here watching the boys from this angle here?
You always learn something about bowling when you watch two great bowlers like these, Fred.
You learned anything about being a broadcaster?
I've got a lot to learn.
Well, we want to thank Bill Hardwick from San Mateo, California, for sitting in with us this week. We'll check these scores, make them official, have a word or two with both of these two fine bowling champions on championship bowling from Parkersburg, West Virginia. This is Fred Wolf. Stand by. We'll be right back. Here are the scores for Pat Patterson: 189, 186, a 216 finish. The total is 591. For Jimmy Schroeder, 189, a great big 268 in the middle, a 215 finish. His total 672. For Jimmy Schroeder, 6 games, 1279. For Pat Patterson, 1180. A very interesting statistic here. Schroeder with 19 strikes, Patterson with 14. The 5 strikes, a difference of almost 100 pins. Let's call out the runner-up, Pat Patterson. Albert, boy.
Are you ready?
I'll get rid of this first. Your $500 as the runner-up and $1279. Do you think that's enough to be around here for the finals?
Well, he's going to have to watch and see for a while, isn't he?
I have to watch. There's some pretty good boys still to bowl. Pat, Bill Hardwick, who sat in with us this week, we were talking a lot about the fact of all the problems you have had here on what we call the right side, lane 38. And I know you mentioned just before the match that the alley sort of bothered you mentally? Does
mentally,
this happen?
physically.
Well,
yes,
physically. In other words, you're unable to
If I threw the
apply.
ball out, it didn't come back, and if I didn't throw out, it was in the nose.
But you did throw some pretty good strikes later in the match.
I actually hit 38 better than 37 today.
Now, how do you account for that?
That's the physical aspects of the game. You never know what's going to happen, Fred.
You never know what's going to happen.
I mean, I figure I could beat Jimmy any day, any time.
You really do? I don't know. The way he looked at that middle game didn't look like anybody could beat him.
I thought I kept him out late enough last night, but evidently I didn't.
I guess not. Thanks a lot, Pat. Hope you can come back again on Championship Bowling. Ladies and gentlemen, a great champion, Pat Patterson. Let's call out the winner from Buffalo, New York, Jimmy Schroeder. Jimmy? Nice work, boy.
You ready?
You see both you boys wearing these bowler's gloves. I'll have to get me one if that'll help. There's $350 bonus money. You almost picked up another $250, but that 10-pin stopped you. $1,000 is the winner. You've won both of your matches, Jim, on both your appearances. Seemed like you had an easy time this week with Big Pat.
Yeah, Pat's a soft touch.
He's a soft touch. He is. Jimmy, kicking around your ball, we found that you're more the strong arm type and still a swinger. You feel you throw your ball a little faster than some of the fellas? We seem to think so up there. I just wonder how you feel about it.
Yes, I definitely do, Fred. I have a lot of natural lift, I guess, and I've tried to hold myself down a little bit, but I don't seem to bowl as well when I do, so I just let go and rear back and try to get all I can get.
Rear back and fire. Well, Jimmy, over the years we've watched you. Of course, you spent some time in Detroit. We thought you put on a great second game. We were looking for the 279. You didn't quite make it, and it looked like you'd get that bonus touch again the last game. That 10-pin looked pretty good.
Well, I was pretty lucky to hit before, so I guess
that's right.
that made up for it.
That was going to be my next question, because I know Pat would want me to ask you. You crossed twice here on the right side, which gave you 4 in a row twice. You made it count the first time. How do you throw a Brooklyn strike? Do you figure on that, or is that just...
That just happens that way. This lane was a little touchy for me, and I just got lifted the ball a little bit too soon, and she took off and happened to hit the right spot.
So maybe you did that especially for Pat. He appreciates those Brooklyn strikes. Jimmy, good luck to you and all your future activities. See you again on Championship Bowling. Jimmy Schroeder. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're very happy to have with us this week on Championship Bowling one of the real great instructors in our game and one of the best actors in the game, Carmen Salvino. Carmen, you have something interesting for us?
Yes, I'd like to talk about various ways to deliver a bowling ball.
You may go right ahead,
Well,
sir.
thank you. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about the straight ball because it's the simplest ball to deliver. And if you're just a beginner and you enjoy this game of bowling and you want to become a good bowler, I recommend you start with the straight ball. Now, picture a clock in your mind. For example, if you want to deliver a straight ball, you would keep the thumb at 12 o'clock. Now, do not twist the ball. Keep the wrist firm, and this ball will roll end over end like a football. Just like this, at 12 o'clock. Let the thumb out first, and then part the English with the fingers. Now, you want to throw a curved ball, put your hand on the side of the ball, and come out with the thumb again first, and then part the English with the fingers. But do not try to throw too big a curve. In too many cases, it will be erratic, and you won't be able to control it on the various lanes. The ball we do recommend, once you learn to be a better bowler, you have good footwork and good timing, is a hook ball. Put your thumb at 9 o'clock, come out with the thumb first, part the English again with the fingers, and you'll get a small hook. You want to put more stuff on the ball, go to 10 o'clock and turn the ball to 9. Go to 11 o'clock and turn the ball to 9. You can go all the way to 12 o'clock and turn the ball to 9. Any farther than that, we don't recommend. And this will give you plenty of stuff on the ball, and I'll guarantee you'll be a lot better bowler with a hook once you get your footwork and timing. Is that right, Ido?
That's very fine, Carmen, as long as you mentioned timing. All your little talk here, if you didn't know how to keep time, it'd be pretty tough, wouldn't it?
Well, timing is actually the whole game.
No, I mean to read all these 9 o'clocks and 10 o'clocks and 9:30s.
Well, I assume that the people I'm dealing with know how to keep time in America, since it's very simple, really.
I'm just kidding you.
I know you are.
This is very, very good. I don't think too many bowlers have any idea where their thumb might be, and I think that this will give them something to think about.
As I would say, try to concentrate on where your thumb is at all times.
Thank you very much. Carmen Salvino, ladies and gentlemen. See you again, Carmen. Nice of you to drop in. Repeating the scores, Pat Patterson with 591, his six-game total 1180 for Jimmy Schroeder, 672 for six games. Schroeder has 1279. Hope you can join us again next week when Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show with over $75,000 in prizes, will originate here from the beautiful Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg-West Virginia in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Till next week, Fred Wolf saying keep 'em bowling out there. Championship Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, and we wish to thank AMF for their cooperation in helping us to produce Championship Bowling. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Ray Shannon. The 1962 Metropolitan New York Bowler of the Year from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, Fred Lenning. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again. This is Fred Wolf. We're in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Championship Bowling. Another week, two more of our stars making their second appearance. $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the loser. We're shooting at Dave Sutar's 1267, Johnny King's 1242. They are the six-game totals. Those boys have made their second appearance. It'll be interesting to see what happens.